Hello everyone and welcome to SuttonsDaze. On Monday Night Live this week we had a request to demonstrate how the weighted regulator works, and so today that's what we're going to go over. When you buy a Presto pressure canner, this is typically the regulator that you receive, okay? And that is supposed to sit on there and regulate the steam coming out, or really it doesn't come out. And that's another way to keep track. If you're running it too high, this will move, but it's going to take quite a bit. It's going to definitely be over 15 pounds of pressure. But for the most part, that's just supposed to sit there. It's not supposed to move, okay? Now, this one is a weighted regulator. And a subscriber sent this to me a while back, and I'm so appreciative because this has really made life a little bit easier as far as canning. When you have a pressure canner with a gauge, typically that is what we use to regulate the pressure that you're canning at. Now this will work perfectly well for that, okay? But this makes it so that you don't have to rely on the gauge. It makes it easier technically to get that pressure that you require without having to constantly regulate the temperature on your stove and possibly alter it. So I'm going to show you how this works here. This is this has 15 pounds. Let me back you up. This has 15 pounds, okay? And these rings come off. Really, they do. Okay, so there you go. Okay, that is your 15 pounds right there. On here, that's just a serial number. So if you're just canning, if your recommended canning is 11 pounds per pressure due to your altitude, you're going to put this on. That's a 10-pound weight, okay? And when you're canning with a weighted regulator, then they recommend doing 10 pounds of pressure. Even if normally if you're using the gauge, it's 11 pounds of pressure. If you're regulating, or if you're canning and you require 15 pounds of pressure, then you'll use both of these. The difference is, whereas that one is supposed to stoically sit there and not do it much, this one is actually going to rock. Now here, I'm actually kind of amazed I still have the second ring, but we mainly pressure can at 10, 11 pounds of pressure. So I'm going to bring the canner up to pressure and then put this on and show you how it's supposed to look. Okay, so when you're canning, you're going to bring it up so that it's doing a steady steam of stream, right? And then you're going to put your regulator on. So we're going to put that on there. Now typically you would watch your gauge to see when it gets up to the pounds of pressure that you want. In this case, we're going to wait to see it rocking. Now I'm going to take it high and then I'm going to take it low so that you can see the difference. If you pressure can at too high of a pressure, so this is not all forgiving, just so you know. If you pressure can at too high of a pressure, what will happen is you will actually run your canner dry. And that, as you may or may not know, is a very, very bad thing. So when this starts really rocking, we'll be back. Another thing to note, and please forgive this, I must have gotten some water in there, but see, it just reached 10 pounds of pressure, and now it's rocking. And that is right about the speed that you want it to happen. But it's going to be building now because I've got the burner on high. So the one key thing to remember is that if you are using this, you are not using this, okay? Because this will not accurately read anymore when you have a weighted regulator on there. So this is dancing just a little bit too much, okay? And that's what you don't want. You don't want it doing the shimmy and shake. You just want it to do a nice, slow hula dance. That's the easiest way to say it, okay? So now I'm going to turn down the weight, or the heat, thank you. Because right now that's going too high. If I were to can at that temperature for a long time, say meat, 75 minutes, 90 minutes, then I really run the risk of running my canner dry, because that's allowing moisture, steam, out of the canner. And that's how it keeps it at a temperature that you're looking for. So this is a 10-pound weight. This should keep it around 10 pounds. Now, as you can see, this is reading higher, but again, you cannot base what you're seeing on here as 100% accurate because that is letting steam out, okay? So it's going to take a few minutes to bring it down to a nice slow hula dance again. Okay, so I think we've got it down to where we want it now. That is that slow, wonderful hula dance that you want your weighted regulator to do. You don't want it to be full steam. You don't want it to really be shaking its stuff. Okay, just a nice calm shimmy. But you do want it to be rocking to some extent. You don't want it just sitting there. So you do want it to be rocking a little bit. This is a little bit. And she's doing her thing. So now that I know that that's where the pressure is and that's how it's going to be, now I would set my timer to start. I hope this was helpful for those of you who are interested in changing over to a weighted regulator. It does give you a little more freedom. I still do not recommend leaving your canner, but you will get used to over time, the sound of what it is when it's running too high, when it's running too low. You'll get used to the shimmy and the shake that it does where it's supposed to be. Start off canning things with a lower pressure is my recommendation. So while you're learning how to use this, do things that don't require as much time as, say, meat, and learn how it works from there. You want to be very conscious that you are not running this too high. You will run your canner dry. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Remember, if you like what we do here, please hit that like, subscribe, and share. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And until the next time, everybody, be safe.